Gemini, have you been feeling something strange lately? A sense that someone, or rather, a part of yourself, is returning, softly but persistently, knocking on the door of your heart. There are nights when you lie still, yet your mind keeps spinning with hazy memories, old faces, unfinished words, and you can't quite explain why everything seems to come back now. Don't think this is a coincidence. For Gemini, the child of air and intellect, the universe never sends signals without reason. Every breeze carries a whisper from your soul. There's something you once left behind, and now it wants to be seen, to be healed. That feeling, Gemini, isn't meant to scare you. It's a gentle invitation from destiny, calling you back to the place where your path once split in two. You once chose silence, or took another road because you were afraid to face your true emotions. But now, a new cycle is unfolding, asking you to look deeper, not to be punished, but to become whole again. The universe is whispering, this time, pause, take a deep breath, and listen to the part of your soul you once left behind. So, if you can feel your twin shadow returning in your life, leave a comment. I feel my twin shadow returning. I want to know if you feel it too. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss the messages the universe is sending just for you. Now, make yourself a warm cup of tea or your favorite coffee and sit quietly. We're about to begin a journey not to find someone else, but to rediscover yourself. Part 1. The Return of the Twin Shadow. Gemini, do you feel something quietly shifting inside you? A strange breeze passing by as if harmless, yet it stirs your heart for no reason. Maybe you can't quite name that feeling, just those mornings when you wake up. Your mind hazy, as if someone is softly calling you from afar. A familiar voice, a faint memory, an old face suddenly appearing in a dream then vanishing before you can understand why. There are things you thought you left behind, but in truth, they've just been waiting for you to be mature enough to return. Gemini is the sign of twin souls, forever moving between light and shadow, between logic and emotion. And when one part of you moves forward, the other remains in the place where something was left unfinished. Lately, have you felt like you're living two parallel lives? One side smiling, talking, busy with the present. The other silent, distant, and lonely. That isn't your conflict. That is the twin shadow, your own reflection, beginning to stir. These energies are not random. The universe never sends signals without reason. When the past starts surfacing in the present, when old memories, people, or situations suddenly reappear, it's a sign that the universe is testing whether you're ready to complete a cycle that remains open. Maybe you once walked away from something out of fear. Fear of being hurt. Fear of speaking the truth. Fear of choosing. Fear of losing the freedom you've always protected. But the irony is, the very things you avoided, the words left unsaid, the feelings you refused to face, the fears you never named, became the invisible thread holding you back. And now, the universe whispers, it's time to finish what your past self began. Gemini, you are the sign of thought and language. Your power lies in communication, expression, and connection. Yet sometimes, it's the words unspoken that weigh heaviest on your soul. The twin shadow returns not to punish you, but to remind you that silence is also a choice, and every choice leaves an echo. Remember, each decision you've made once created two paths. One you followed, and one you left behind. Now, that abandoned path is finding its way back, not to make you regret, but to help you understand yourself more deeply. Maybe it's someone you let go too soon, an opportunity you didn't dare to take, a conversation you avoided because you feared pain. Or perhaps it's your younger self, the one full of dreams, but lacking courage. And today, as you sit here listening to these words, that very part of your soul is drawing near. Can you hear it? That voice, gentle yet firm, telling you, pause, take a deep breath, and look toward the place you once turned away from. Because when you face the twin shadow, you're not just revisiting the past. You're seeing the person you could have become if only you had taken one more step. This isn't a random return. This is the meeting point of two timelines, where the person you were meets the person you're becoming. If you're brave enough to look, you'll realize that the things you feared the most were only waiting for you to understand that you've already changed. And when you acknowledge that, a new door will open, a new chapter, free from half-made choices and unresolved memories. Gemini, this is the moment you return, to finish what was left undone, to write the rest of the story you once left incomplete. If you're feeling this energy, if your heart suddenly feels heavy, yet a faint light begins to flicker, that's the sign. Don't run from it. Just admit that you feel it. Now, let your mind grow still and prepare for a deeper journey where you won't be facing the outer world, but your own soul. Part 2. The meaning of the return. Gemini, before you ask yourself, why is everything from the past coming back? Pause for a moment. Not to panic, but to listen. The universe never brings back what's gone just to make you suffer again. It brings it back to measure the maturity of your energy, especially in how you communicate, choose, and express yourself. For Gemini, the child of Mercury, every great life lesson begins with words and thoughts. The things you once said or didn't say. The promises left unfinished. The messages you never sent. The emotions you hid behind a smile because you feared no one would truly understand you. All of these have formed an energetic memory stream, and it's now flowing back to the present to ask you, this time, will you dare to speak your truth? Gemini, you are the only sign in the Zodiac with two parallel souls. One curious, open, talkative, and sharp. The other quiet, observant, and afraid to reveal too much. When these two parts are not in harmony, your words can turn into a shield instead of a bridge. And that's where your communication karma begins. Remember, silence isn't always peace. Sometimes, silence is how the soul builds a wall to avoid getting hurt again. But every wall you build holds back a truth you haven't yet faced. And when the universe's energy returns, the things you once kept quiet about will find their way back in different forms. A similar situation, a person with familiar energy, or an opportunity that forces you to choose again. The universe is giving you a second chance to balance logic and emotion, the intelligence of the mind and the honesty of the heart. Not so you can justify, but so you can correct with awareness. Not so you can talk more, but so you can speak better to say what matters at the right moment. Gemini, you know that feeling when something inside your heart pushes you to speak, but your throat tightens and you smile instead to avoid the moment. The universe understands. It knows that when you lied, it wasn't from malice, it was from fear of losing connection. It knows that when you stayed silent, it wasn't indifference, it was because you believed time would make things right. But the truth is, time doesn't heal what you bury. It only waits for you to grow enough to speak it. This time, the universe isn't asking, were you right or wrong? It's only asking one thing. Are you still avoiding yourself? If you've ever had an unfinished story, an unresolved relationship, or a conversation you've always imagined having one day, this is that day. The universe is setting up situations, random meetings, unexpected messages, sudden chances to let you choose again how you respond. Because this time, you're not who you used to be. You've learned to listen. You've endured enough pain to understand that the truth, no matter how painful, weighs less than a false word. So when the twin shadow appears again, don't hide behind logic. Speak from your heart, but with kindness. Dare to admit what you've hidden, even if it's only within yourself. Because when you speak it, you release the trapped energy, and light begins to seep through the long-kept shadows of your soul. If you've ever chosen silence instead of truth, share your feelings below. Comment, "I'm ready to speak my truth." And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll go deeper into the price of silence and how to turn your mistakes into the light that guides your path. Part 3. The cost of escaping your own words. Gemini, you've always been seen as intelligent, quick-witted, and capable of turning any situation around with just a few words. But have you ever asked yourself how many times in your life have those very words become the wall that separated you from your true feelings? Maybe you once said, "I'm fine," when your heart was in chaos. Maybe you laughed loudly, just so no one would notice the tears inside. And maybe you used humor as a cloak to cover your pain because you were afraid that if you let your emotions spill out, everything would fall apart. Gemini, the child of Mercury, was born with the gift of words, but also the curse of them. You know how to speak, but sometimes you speak too much, so that no one sees the truth. You analyze, explain, and rationalize, yet in the quiet of the night, you know that logic is only a thin mist, covering a heart that hasn't healed. You thought you'd moved on. That time, distance, a new job, a new person would fade the memory away. But you were wrong. Your mind moved on, but your energy didn't. Your mind may forget, but your energy remembers. And the universe never overlooks what remains unresolved. Now, the things you once ran from are returning not to torment you, but to help you see the part of your soul you abandoned. That is your shadow twin, the invisible counterpart who carries the emotions you suppressed, the words you never dared to speak. Maybe you once lied not to deceive, but to ease the pain. Maybe you stayed silent not because you had nothing to say, but because you feared your words would shatter the fragile connection you were clinging to. But the truth is, every time you chose silence over honesty with yourself, you created another version of you, one that lives in the shadows. And now, the universe is bringing that version back. Not through a face, but through energy, a new person, with a familiar presence, a situation that feels like déjà vu, an opportunity that makes you realize, "I've been here before." The universe never repeats anything meaningless. It only brings you back to what you once fled. To ask, this time, will you be honest with yourself? Gemini, this is the hardest part of the journey, looking into your own shadow without running away. That shadow doesn't exist outside of you. The shadow isn't outside of you. It's the voice you silenced long ago. It's the voice you held back because you were afraid of being hurt. It's the feeling you denied to appear strong. It's the tear you refused to let fall, thinking weakness was wrong. But that's what caused you to drift away from your own soul. Many Geminis shine brightly on the outside. Lively, loved, admired, yet inside, they feel empty, as if their real self has been locked away in a sealed box for years. You know that feeling, don't you? The feeling of living but only performing, always smart, always composed, always fine. Yet when night falls, only you know how exhausted you truly are. Today, the universe doesn't want you to hide anymore. It wants you to admit that you've been weak, afraid, dishonest at times, that you've chosen ease over truth, Not to judge yourself, but to understand. Healing begins only when light touches the cracks. And when you finally face your shadow twin, you'll realize it's not as frightening as you imagined. It doesn't want to hurt you, it only wants to be seen. It wants you to embrace it and say, "I'm sorry for forgetting you for so long." Comment, "I'm ready to face my truth." I want to know you're ready to walk with me through the mist of fear. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, we'll go deeper into the moment of transformation where truth becomes light, and Gemini awakens through the power of their own words. Part 4. The Awakening Through Truth. Gemini, something strange happens when you finally dare to speak your truth. Not to anyone else, but to yourself. The moment those honest words are released, you'll feel the energy in your heart begin to shift. It's like a wind that's been compressed for years, finally finding the open space to rise. All this time, you've carried the belief that if you were smart enough, skillful enough, adaptable enough, you could control any situation. But the universe doesn't want you to be the controller. It wants you to be the truth teller. This is not a lesson in regret, it's a graduation in emotional awareness. This is not punishment. It's your graduation from emotional duality. Gemini, you've spent your life observing others, reading their thoughts, sensing the smallest vibrations in the air, reacting quickly and intelligently. But somewhere along that journey, you stopped hearing your own inner voice. You became so sharp-minded that your intellect turned into a fence, keeping your heart from breathing freely. When you look back at your mistakes, not with guilt, but with understanding, that's the first spark of awakening, because in that moment, you see yourself not through the distorted lens of shame, but through the gentle light of compassion. The universe doesn't want you to say, "I was wrong." It wants you to ask, "What did I learn from it?" When that question echoes inside you, your energy changes instantly. Guilt transforms into awareness. Fear transforms into softness. And the past, the very thing you once ran from, becomes the teacher that shows you how to love yourself more deeply. Gemini, this is your time to relearn the power of transparency. No more words designed to please others. No more clever answers to maintain the image of, "I'm fine," but the courage to say, "I'm learning, I'm changing, I'm not perfect, but I'm real." Because sometimes, one sincere sentence can heal years of silence. One heartfelt apology can bridge a distance that hundreds of empty conversations never could. And one honest moment with yourself can open the door to an entirely new life. Look back, you may have hurt someone once, with careless words or deliberate silence. But now, the universe doesn't want you drowning in regret. It only wants you to transform it into light. How? By letting truth flow through you gently, but authentically. This is a lesson in emotional responsibility. Not responsibility to carry, but to understand. To understand that every word you speak holds energy. Each phrase is a seed. And today, the universe is asking, what kind of seeds do you want to plant from now on? Because intelligence can help you survive, but only honesty can help you ascend. Gemini, you are clever, but being clever isn't the same as being honest. This awakening won't happen in a single day. It's a journey. Every time you feel the urge to hide your emotions, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this out of fear or out of love? Every time you smile to cover your sadness, remind yourself, I allow myself to be real. And each time you catch yourself falling back into old habits, analyzing, avoiding, rationalizing, remember, you've already walked through darkness once, and this time you know how to return to the light. Gemini, the universe is opening a door for you where every relationship, every emotion, every painful memory can be healed through truth. When you're honest, you're not weak. You're stronger than ever. When you speak your truth, you lose no one. You only lose the illusion that you had to be perfect. Click like to affirm that truth and share your feelings below. Because when you dare to write your truth, you take another step forward on the path of awakening. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, you'll learn how to fully accept yourself, even the parts you once felt ashamed of. Part 5. Accepting your imperfections. Gemini, there's something only those who are truly mature in spirit understand. Accepting yourself doesn't mean giving up on growth. It means you stop fighting with yourself. Since birth, you've been the symbol of two parallel souls, two winds blowing in opposite directions. One wants to go far, to reach greatness, to be seen, loved, and free. But the other is afraid of losing direction, of being hurt, of showing your true self, and being left behind. And so, throughout this journey, you've grown up torn between moving forward and holding back, between courage and hesitation, between light and shadow. Gemini, you've spent your whole life trying to please both halves. But what the universe wants you to understand today is this: you can't heal by choosing one side. You can only heal when both halves sit down together, speak, and forgive each other. Maybe one part of you has always taken pride in your intellect, quick wit, and agility. But another part feels empty, as if you've been playing the role of the perfect one. That empty space doesn't need fixing. It only needs you to hold it close and say, I see you. When you stop judging yourself, something magical happens. A new energy, freedom, creativity, and love begins to flow. Because judgment is the soul's final chain. The more you try to be right, the further you move from being real. Gemini, allow yourself to be flawed and still lovable, to be conflicted and still valuable, to be uncertain and still moving forward. Because the universe isn't looking for perfection. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be whole. Wholeness doesn't come from erasing your darkness. It comes from bringing light into it. When you start seeing your mistakes not as sins but as lessons, you'll realize every crack in your heart is just a window where light can enter. Gemini, you once believed that to be loved, you had to be interesting, intelligent, extraordinary. But true love doesn't arrive when you convince someone. It arrives when you no longer need to prove anything. When you are honest with yourself, you attract people who resonate with your frequency, those who can see your soul beyond the witty, bright, and lively exterior. The universe wants you to see one truth. There is nothing wrong with you. Every mistake, every decision, every weak moment is material for your softness and compassion. Don't try to become the best version by someone else's standards. Become the truest version of yourself, even if it's imperfect. Gemini, imagine if the two sides of you, the rational one and the emotional one, could sit down together. What would they say? Maybe they'd cry. Maybe they'd laugh. Maybe they'd whisper, I'm sorry for not listening to you for so long. And in that exact moment, your energy would be freed. You'd no longer be pulled between two extremes. You'd become one unified, powerful, and liberated current of air. Healing isn't about becoming perfect. Healing is having the courage to love yourself while you're still hurting. And when you begin to love yourself, not the ideal version, but the real one, you'll notice the universe gently opening new doors. Opportunities, relationships, creative sparks you thought were lost will begin to return. because the universe always mirrors the frequency of self-love. If you're learning to accept yourself, comment, "I'm learning to forgive me." Show the universe that you're ready to step into the next phase of your journey. And remember to subscribe, because the path ahead still holds many miracles waiting for you, Gemini. Part 6. The Rebirth of the Twin. Gemini, when you've walked through the layers of darkness, when you've dared to face your fears and admit your truth, something miraculous happens. You are reborn, not as someone else, but as you. Today, stronger, more authentic, and at peace. You no longer need to prove anything. You no longer have to play the strong one or hide your fear behind clever smiles, because now you understand. True strength is the courage to be soft. Gemini, the universe is opening a brand new cycle before you. The old energies, the lessons that have completed their purpose, will now transform into wisdom. And wisdom doesn't live only in the mind, it lives in the heart, where every scar becomes proof of survival, learning, and kindness. From here on, the universe will send you new experiences that reflect your growth. People who once hurt you may reappear, but this time you'll greet them with calm understanding. Opportunities that once frightened you may return, but this time you won't hesitate, because you are no longer the Gemini of yesterday. You are the Gemini of today, the one who knows how to say no to what's unworthy, thank you to what has passed, and yes to your own soul. Look back at your journey. From the silence of shadow to the light of truth, you've walked with courage. You've learned that healing isn't about forgetting the past, but about understanding why it happened. And in that understanding, you've become the version of yourself the universe always believed in, the one who dares to love, to speak, and to live authentically. Gemini, this is the beginning of a new era where you live truthfully, speak truthfully, love truthfully, no longer afraid of being misunderstood, no longer afraid of loss. Only freedom remains, the freedom of a soul who knows who they are and no longer needs validation. And when you live in that frequency, the universe unfolds miracles before you. Kindred souls will find you. Opportunities will align perfectly with divine timing, and life will begin to mirror the energy of your heart, light, honest, and full of radiance. Gemini, can you feel it? The wind has shifted. The old door has closed. You've crossed the passage from shadow into your own light. This isn't the end, it's the true beginning. Before we close this journey, I want to ask you something. The very question the universe will whisper every time you start to run, every time you fear facing yourself. If your shadow returned today, would you finally listen to it or run again? Keep that question close as your compass whenever you lose your way, because this time you know running is no longer the answer. Listening is the way home. Gemini, you've passed your soul's test, and the universe wants you to know this is your second chance, Gemini. The world is ready for your truth. Don't be afraid to let your light shine, even if it's different. Don't be afraid to speak what you feel, even if no one else understands. And never forget, you weren't born to please the world. You were born to awaken it with your truth. Leave a comment below with what you're ready to face, even if it's just one word, one emotion. Write it down. That's how you sign your new contract with the universe. And remember to subscribe so you can continue this journey of returning home to yourself, because your story, Gemini, is only just beginning. Gemini, after walking through this journey, you've probably realized something profound. Sometimes what matters most isn't whether we were right or wrong, but what we learned from what we went through. The universe doesn't bring darkness back to frighten you. It brings it to help you see the light that's been growing inside you. Every choice, every silence, every tear you once hid, all of it had meaning. They taught you how to mature, how to live authentically, and how to love yourself more completely. That is the greatest gift the universe gives you. Inner freedom. If there's one thing you can take with you after this video, let it be this. Don't strive to be someone perfect. Strive to be yourself, honest and aware. Because when you live truthfully, you don't just heal yourself, you inspire others to do the same. So, if today's message touched your heart, share your thoughts in the comments below. Write, "I choose to live my truth," as a declaration that you're ready to live honestly, love fully, and believe in yourself. And don't forget to like this video to send positive energy to the universe, subscribe to continue this healing journey with me, and turn on the bell to receive new messages made just for Gemini in the videos ahead. Remember, Gemini, you don't need to be perfect to deserve love and light. You only need the courage to be yourself, because that's the most beautiful gift you can offer this world. See you in the next video, where we'll continue to listen to the miracles the universe is whispering to every awakening Gemini soul. With love, always see you soon.